Hi, welcome back to 5 Good Questions. I'm your host, Jake Taylor. Our guest today is Bonnie Marcus. Bonnie is a certified executive coach, speaker, and author. She was a corporate executive before founding her firm, Women's Success Coaching. Their mission is to help professional women promote and position themselves for success. She's been featured and published in numerous publications, and we're going to be talking to her about her new book, The Politics of Promotion. We're big fans of equality on this show, so let's ask her 5 good questions. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Our guest today is Bonnie Marcus, author of The Politics of Promotion. Hey, Bonnie, where are we chatting with you today?
I am in Connecticut, and it is pouring rain today. It's pretty dismal out.
Oh, well, I don't want to trade with you. It's 70 degrees here in California.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there this weekend. How's that?
Okay, that's good. All right, you ready for 5 good questions?
I am.
All right, so question number 1. Many women want to avoid politics in the office. They think, this is not for me. Can I just go without doing that? Yet, even chimpanzees practice a form of politics. How do we, and it's probably ingrained in our species, really, being political. Aside from a missed promotion due to not playing the game, what are some other costs that maybe someone is not aware of by not being political at the office?
Well, not being political means that you are really operating in a vacuum in a way, because you don't have a lot of the important information about how to position yourself, how to perhaps get some new opportunities, information that might give you even access to better resources so you can perform your job better. So it's not just about the promotion, it's creating more visibility for yourself, which would lead to perhaps being included in sponsorship programs or high potential programs that your organization may offer. And if you don't have those types of relationships where people know about you, then you kind of remain invisible.
So you just kind of blend into the background if you're not actively promoting yourself sometimes.
Right, and women do make the mistake of avoiding it. We tend to think that our talent and performance alone will get us ahead. The myth of the meritocracy. And unfortunately, that doesn't work in the workplace.
Good. Okay, so, question number 2. This idea of office politics conjures up ideas of schmoozing and or maybe even like sucking up or backstabbing potentially. Does that how it has to be? Is that what we're talking about here?
No, but you are being really very gentle when you say schmoozing.
Yeah.
Because when I did research for my book and I was asking people, especially women, about their thoughts about office politics, I got a lot stronger words than that. I mean, it's a very emotional topic. But politics doesn't have to be manipulative, underhanded, unfair. I like to think that politics can be very positive. And the way you work in positive politics is by establishing mutually beneficial relationships. And in helping others to achieve their goals and helping the business to achieve its goals, you are helping other people be successful. You're helping the business be successful. And in process, you're creating more visibility and credibility for yourself. More people understand your contribution, your value proposition.
Great. So question number 3. As a man myself who would like to treat women fairly in the workplace as much as possible, what are some ways for a man to guard against some of the more subtle forms of sexism that may creep into the office place?
That's such a great question, Jake, and I rarely get asked that question. We all have biases. We all do. And I think our focus is always, well, what kind of bias does somebody else have? What kind of behavior do they have that shows unfair practices, discrimination, etc.? And rarely do we hold up the mirror and look at ourselves and say, well, what kind of bias do we carry into the workplace and into our lives? So I think the place to begin for everyone, men included, is to reflect on some of our own behavior and some of our own opinions and what drives that. to really stop and pause before we react a certain way and try to understand what prompted that. And what's interesting about your question is that I find that men who have daughters are most invested in really figuring out what their own bias is and how to fix this in the workplace. And I had the opportunity of interviewing Bob. Oh, wow. Now I can't remember his last name. He's CEO and chairman of PricewaterhouseCoopers, and he had 3 daughters. So that's how he started this whole diversity program at PwC.
Gotcha. So it's more front of mind for him with having daughters.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So really the tip then is to just kind of to put yourself a little bit more in front of the mirror and imagine your own biases and then
rather than looking at everybody else's.
Yeah, pointing the finger. Okay, question number 4. We're big fans of using inverted thinking on this show, and that just means, figuring out what not to do a lot of times can tell you what's a good thing to do. So what are 3 things that women often do in the office that's holding them back and that maybe they should just stop doing immediately?
They should stop spending 100% of their time doing their work and sitting in their office and spending all that time thinking that's going to get them ahead. So that's number 1. Number 2, they should stop limiting their networking with people that they like and they know. That really limits their exposure, and research shows that the more diverse network you have, it leads to faster promotions and increased compensation, more opportunities to move forward. So that's number 2. And then third, which I think is a real trap for women, is to stop doing for everybody else. Stop taking on extra work. Stop taking on work that I call the invisible work, which doesn't necessarily benefit your career advancement, but you're kind of behind the scenes doing. And how that holds you back is that you are seen as the doer, and you're also seen as someone who does not have leadership potential.
So you're always just going to be kind of a worker bee with that mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah, I call it the doer trap, and women fall into that a lot.
Great. So question number 5. There are women out there who you might classify as super women, the ones that are balancing this career and a family. It seems like a really tough proposition, like almost like you can't win in that scenario. Do you have any tips for those women, or is it that that's not even the right way to think about it, and then that idea of the superwoman might be a myth?
It is so not the way to think about it. And I was a single mom and when I started my career, and I was trying to balance growing my career and raising 2 young children. And I had this superwoman complex, baking the cookies, bringing them to school, taking all these road trips for work. And I was burning myself out big time. And I think it is a myth, and I think it damages women because they feel that somehow, someday, they're going to find this sense of balance between work and family. And I don't believe that's valid at all. I think it's more like a seesaw. So there's sometimes you need to spend more time in the office and focusing on your career. And then there's sometimes that you can have more quality time with your family. Having it all at the same time is really difficult.
So don't balance, concentrate on one or the other when it's required.
When it's appropriate, right? And relax about it. Don't keep beating yourself up. I mean, it's not easy. It's easier to say than do, because
Sure.
You're at the office and then you feel guilty about your family, and then you're with your family and you think you should be doing more work. But understanding that it's never going to balance out, I think, helps a bit with the stress.
Yeah,
with the guilt.
I think that's good advice for anybody, really. That doesn't have to be women only.
True.
I'm thinking about my own work-life balance situation. So, question number 6 that we always ask, this is about a book recommendation. And typically we're looking for something that's maybe a little under the radar, that maybe the potential reader hasn't come across yet. What do you have for us today?
Wow, under the radar. I'm not sure that my recommendation is under the radar.
It probably is for our viewers.
You think so?
Yeah, I would guess.
Okay, well, it is called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I was first introduced to this book when I went back to be certified as a coach. It was part of our required reading. And I think that if you're in business or just in terms of living a fulfilling life, that the four agreements are really important.
Great. Well, Bonnie, we really appreciate you having you on the show today.
Well, thanks, Jake. It was great.
All right, take care.